Hi. So we have some old friends back for today's I Ching reading. Pop, last week's hexagram, is back again today, and so is homing. Oh, so there is some juicy, juicy, juicy polarity here. And look at all those changing lines. So you see all those yang lines in 43 that they're pushing out the yin line at the top. And yet look at hexagram 2, yin lines are the field from which hexagram 43 emerges. So there's all this feeding from the 2 and all of this pushing out into the world from 43 pop, which is, as we remember, popping the pimple. So it's like we're in this phase now where we keep squeezing the pimple and then it refills, and then we have to come back and squeeze it out again and like let it refill. And there's actually some tending to that wound, tending to that emptiness. Because as we know, nature doesn't really abhor a vacuum. She loves it so much, she'll come to fill it. So as soon as you empty your cup, nature will come to fill it with something more delicious. So 43 again. Oh my God. I can't believe it. I mean, it really is, this and budding, I would say, are the hexagrams of like springtime, of this shift, this time of shifting seasons, of pushing out that winter stagnation and letting it fill again and seeing what comes in. And okay, is what has come to fill it again still stagnant? Is this still stagnating stuff? Do we have to empty this cup again? Do we have to squeeze it out again? And this is saying, yeah, that's the cycle we're in for the last week or so, of like letting those old thoughts come in, letting those old stories come in, and releasing again, filling and emptying, filling and emptying. Pop the pimple, decisive, total, quick. Squeeze out the pus, no trace of stagnation left behind. Tension has built to the point where action is inevitable, decisive, incisive, swift. It's time for the sword, lance the boil. Have you been living like an ingrown hair, afraid to put yourself out there? Just when you get close, do you turn inward again toward old habits? That time is over. The crisis is here. Is your retraction a trauma response? What is trauma? An impact that you could neither absorb nor metabolize, so an injury is left behind. It swells. The injury lasts long after the impact has passed, buried under the skin. The tissue at the point of impact is damaged. Pus comes with its white blood cells to cushion and heal, but sometimes that cushioning becomes painful swelling, and the process intended to heal just drives the injury deeper. When we think we're releasing, and then we find ourselves, God, in the same kind of pattern again, in the same kind of relationship again, in the same kind of job again, doing the same thing with a friend again. Oh, is this uncomfortable enough yet? Has this pimple come to a head enough to actually be fruitfully popped? Like an addiction to sex, romance, eating, gambling, shopping, so many things, inflammation and amplification seem healing at first, but over time, not so much. Stop doubling down on numbing and distraction. It's time to lance the boil. Yin and yang are in a bit of a power struggle in this hexagram. Yin is a little swampy at the top. The yang has all this momentum, and it doesn't, like that yin, that the weight of yin at the top feels like it's like capping, like the skin over a ripe pimple. But let's not forget that it's hexagram 2 that is surrounding it. So all of that yang impulse is coming out of the yin field anyway. Its original nourishment is from the yin field. So getting those things back into balance, where can what is stagnating be moved through? Like the way this line, if you look at this line, can those yang lines push through and allow that split of the yin line at the top, can both of those sides of the yin line then go back into the soil to come up again? So we have a lot of transforming lines here. So today is a fluxy day. Line 1, you're not ready to move forward yet. I know you feel ready. You're not. Wait, recirculate that energy, delay ejaculation. Line 2, when you're afraid, it's better to just be with the fear. Feel into it instead of resisting it. That which we wrestle with, we lend power to. Reach out and talk about it, but know that word of your vulnerability may spread to those who would take advantage of it. Don't pay them much mind. Be alert, but don't let this threat add to the burden of fear. Let it hasten the movement of fear through you. Let the fear be amplified. Imagine you're already dead. What do you still have to be afraid of? It will almost be like before you were born. What was there to grieve in that absence? Line 3, people are going to sling some mud now. It's possible you've said too much, overstated your case, overshot the mark, and got people all riled up. Take the mudslings and assorted arrows with grace and walk tall, even if you're walking alone right now. Oof, I've had a lot of those moments. It's not easy, but keep going. We have a choice whether to take on humiliation or let it roll off our backs. The worst thing you could do right now is let the hate turn your head and knock you off your square. Line 4. You're not listening. I love when there's a lot of flux, a lot of changing lines. Some of them will be somewhat contradictory, which lets you know you have a choice as to your responsiveness amid all the flux. Like how you meet and metabolize the flux will make all the difference to the next set of causes and conditions. You're not listening. It's one thing to not listen to the haters, as in line 3. It's quite another to ignore the nudges from the voice within because you're feeling the momentum of your goal. It's okay to pivot. It's often required. There are those who don't have your best interests at heart, and you can filter their comments. But there are also people who care about you and want to flourish with you. Listen to them. Take their advice. Don't try to go it alone. Don't be stubborn. You will only make things harder for yourself. And then line 5, which is usually the harvest of the hexagram. Changing line 5. And then line 6 is where it becomes overripe and it's at the top of the range of the, I don't want to say lesson, but like the tone of the hexagram comes to the top of its range where it can easily go out of tune or reach the fruition of wisdom. It kind of depends on the hexagram. But line 5 is usually where the full manifestation of the hexagram has come to fruition. You can harvest that fruit can be shared. You are embodying in line 5 the most beautiful manifestation of the hexagram, the fullest. Not always, it's not always beautiful. Line 5, weed the garden. In lines 3 and 4, you had the chance to see who your allies and enemies are within and without. Which old patterns of defense, which old patterns of defense have you resorted to as you've confronted obstacles? Oh my. Have you been forcing things, resorting to the old bootstrapping model of if you just try harder, you can do it? That's not the case. Pull the weeds, give good room to grow. Stay in the middle and just focus on the next loving action that emerges, one weed at a time. Beauty and order will become clear as space is made for growth. Let your defenses go. And I can't hear that one enough. Let your defenses go. Melt. What is there to defend? What was there to grieve in your absence before you were born? What's the worst that could happen? No, really. If you say the thing, do the thing, try the thing, fail at the thing, succeed at the thing, what's the worst that could happen? The far worst thing is not being responsible for your own desire. That's a squandering of your life force. Your desire has important information for you. It's what you're here to hold. It's what you're here to move from. Desire gets such a bad rap, you know. Preferences should get the bad rap. There's a big difference between desires and preferences. Preferences are usually the ego's pursuit of comfort, whereas desire is what's guiding you toward being fully alive. The difference between the fuck yes and the maybe. Don't move from a maybe. You know what a shrug feels like. Don't move from a shrug. If you're shrugging, it's a no. It's a no. Shrug equals no. So anyway, all of that is coming out of our gorgeous yin field, number 2, which is surrounding all of this yang action and actually supporting this yang action. And it's all of the yang action is cycling through the yin field. So it's coming out the top, and then the yin lines are falling back into the earth, and then the yang impetus is coming up again, out of the ground, and then back in again in this beautiful, like sort of almost convection cycle, energetic convection cycle. You know, when I went to hang gliding school for a while. If you're not a natural at that, you probably shouldn't pursue it. You know, when you see a lot of hawks or whatever hanging, birds that love to soar, hanging out at like a cliff edge, it's because as the ground heats up, that heat creates a cycle, like a looping cycle. So it pushes up the cliff, up the side of the cliff, and then back over again. And it creates this almost like convection cycle of heat. And those are like invisible loop-de-loops for those birds to play in. So all of those forces that we can't see are still functioning in our lives and through our bodies. So it benefits us all. It benefits us personally and intimately and as a whole to notice how those forces are operating on us, to notice what we can't see. Because that is also the world that we're embedded, embodied in, and emerging from. That's ours too. We are responsible for that too, for our impact there. I mean, we can make wind with our hands, make wind with every breath. Wind is a powerful force. Are you responsible for the wind you make, farts and all? 2, homing. Ooh, yin lines all the way down. The dark loam in a magnetic field absorbs light and gives life. The nourishing dark, our original home. Welcome. Nothing impedes homing. Open lines all the way down. I wasn't going to read this, but I'm going to because I love this section. Nature's birth canal. We're pushed through, sticky and wet, over and over again. Concupiscent fingers on assorted skins. Lick them. Taste dirt. Your gut craves it. Receive the magnetic homing signal. It's being transmitted constantly. It can't be seen, but can always be felt. Attune to it. Amplify it. Let it permeate and dissolve you. Let yourself be pulled. There's no need for pushing. Face down in molecules and mud, let yourself be held in the dark. Let your womb be an antenna. Mingle in the underworld of mycelium and soil. Notice the mushrooms that pop up overnight from the subterranean universe that quietly supports you. Taste the ghost pipe, that liminal plant. Don't be scared. I know it looks strange. Put it in your mouth. Eat shit like soil does. All beauty comes from this. Eat the blame. It nourishes everything once you metabolize it and stop pushing it around on your plate like a toddler refusing spaghetti. Homing is the moon swelling in your womb, connecting your body and the world, pulsing blood and brine together. Your pussy is the portal of birth and death, connected to all that is all the time, even when you don't notice. You create and shed the possibility of new life with every lunar cycle. Its smell, its pains, its stains, its truth. Feminine embodiments are pretty used to standing at the portal of birth and death. We embody the cycle of surrender, whether we like it or not. Compost and creation, not comfortable, not optional. No enlightenment without endarkenment, says Joan Sutherland Roshi. Don't mistake composting for depression. When you let go of productivity, you are produced by life itself. Release your goals and preferences. Rest is fertile. Lie down and listen. Soften. Are there stones in you underground? Stones seem solid, but freely offer their coagulated stardust to trees who can only feed so much on light. Even a stone opens to receive the fingering of rootlets hungry for minerals, like she's been waiting her whole life for this, to be opened like that, touched there, used. There is no bright flourishing without dark nourishing. Collectively, we're dying, yin is in the middle there, of a fear of the dark. We're wilting under floodlights that demand constant growth. This is untenable, that's clear. There is no path without dark nights of the soul. Those great replenishers need not be feared or resisted. Feel your way along the cave wall. Will you go deeper or get out? Either way, you're going home. Do you think you lost the way? Let those thoughts come and go. Can you rest in not knowing? Can you let yourself be guided by touch? Click your heels, Dorothy. Then walk through moist and muddy places. Slide your foot into the suck and pull of the gestating bog. It will let you go when you're ready, not a moment before. No need to struggle. Sink down past the root of you until you find where you are not. Sink down up to your thighs. Open your throat and sing, or scream, or laugh. Open your throat, say no, meet your body made from mud. Surrender to homing like monarch butterflies migrating to Michoacan or Big Sur. Delicate and rugged, they navigate flawlessly. They carry the embodied memory of previous migrations they themselves didn't go on. They didn't need to. They follow ancestral songlines humming in their blood. They carry nectar and this lineage over time and space. What can't be seen can be trusted. Listen with your blood. Listen to gravity, grace, and moonlight. Receiving homing is a call to embody the rich and boundless ground from which everything emerges, the home of all beings, the womb we emerge from and return to again and again. Receiving homing is a reminder that you'll be received how you receive. It's one thing to meet the bog. How willing are you to be engulfed by it? And when it grows stagnant in you, you pop the pimple. That's today's task. It's very potent. What a potent day. There's, I think, astrologically, a whole Venus and Mars thing happening right now. So that definitely is resonating in the I Ching reading today. See you all tomorrow. Good luck. Good luck embodying all of that flux. Let me know how it goes for you in the comments. Oh, and if you want a personal reading, come to reihance.com, REIHANCE. I also offer pocket coaching, fuck suffering practice groups, and a podcast, new episode out today, all manner of things. Hi.